Yes.
Oh, okay. Okay, call the meeting order. Start with the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag
Flag,
of the United States of America,
and
To the
to the
republic
which it stands,
for which it stands, one nation, under God,
indivisible,
indivisible,
liberty,
liberty, and justice for all.
Oh,
Can I get a motion to approve the minutes from the September 14th meeting?
Emery Draganis, I make a motion.
Okay.
John Uholsky, I'll second the motion.
Okay. Chair votes aye. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Did everybody look at the meeting schedule that Jonathan made up for the board meetings for 2021? If everybody's agreeing with that, we can get a motion to accept the schedule.
I'll make a motion to accept the schedule, John Uholsky.
I'll second it.
Second. Okay. Chair votes aye. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Veolia Water reports. Walter.
all right. Plant was in compliance for the month of September. Plant maintenance, blower 3, the bearings, magnetic bearing sensor was replaced. That's back in service. We had Introl calibrate the chlorine analyzer and controller. We still have some issues with that. We probably will. And Introl is selling a business to NAP, so we'll have NAP come back and look at it some other time. Our chronic toxicity report went out. The incoming electric service at the plant was down due to the pole at the end of the driveway. During that time, we were setting equipment back and forth until they replaced the pole, and we were on emergency generator during that time. The biofilter, Public Works spread the crushed stone out on the biofilter. We added a mesh on top of that, and we're just waiting for the wood chips, which Jim is working. Jim Galligan's going to have Nick schedule that. I had Jarvis replace a corroded conduit and a light switch at the head of the plant headwork stairs. And rebuilt primary sludge pump number 1. Replaced inlet pulsation dampener air chamber on primary sludge pump 2. And for the dump truck gauges started malfunctioning again. Brought it to, talked to Public Works. Chris brought it to Tracy's. They had it down there. They replaced the alternator. They said it was overcharging or something, so it seems to be working fine now. And we replaced a valve on the aeration tank. There was one that wasn't functioning. We couldn't get it to open or close properly, so we put a new one on. I bought a new one and put it on. I'd like to do that to all those valves, but we can probably do them one at a time or a couple at a time, because they're pretty expensive valves. Collection system, Titus pump station number 1 was tripping out, and it caused 2 capacitors to overload. We had Jarvis replace the capacitors. We pulled the pump, found the pump vibrating excessively. We removed the pump and sent it out for diagnosis and for get a replacement or repair quote. A new impeller. Last meeting we made a motion to approve the impeller, so we ordered a new impeller. We actually just got that today. That's been put in, and pump number 1 is back in operation. And he's got the old pump for quote purposes for repair. Power outage at South Derby Pump Station. We were able to procure a rental generator until the power was restored, and we kept the generator until the old generator was repaired, and that's been taken care of, and everything's back in operation over there. We marked out manholes along the railroad tracks for the Metro North electrical project. And we were called in for a sewer backup in a manhole. It is in a right of way.
Enable closed caption.
I'm sorry. It was in the right of way in the woods. It was above 55 North Street. We cleared the blockage, removed rags, small stones, and a brick from manhole. We checked a couple more manholes above that, upstream of the blockage, and that was all cleared. And that was one of the former chairman's, one of the former chairman's property. I think there's a right of way coming down through his property. And tower generator completed repair, rebuilt fuel injectors. Okay, that's South Derby pump station. It's all been started, tested, and everything's working good. Got rid of the rental generator. Had some markouts in Humphreys and Main Street and DeForest. We replaced a wet well level float at Nickel Mine Pump Station. We had to pull a pump at Glen Circle, remove rags, and we found a Matchbox toy inside the impeller. So we took that out and put the pump back. It worked fine. And replaced a manhole cover on Silver Mine Road and found the baseball field. Let's see, is there anything else in here? No, I think that's good. Oh, South Derby Pump Station. When we were getting rid of the emergency generator, we noticed the electric meter on the outside, the pole that goes down underground. The incoming power is fed from a pole across the street, and then it goes underground, underneath the road, and then comes back up where the meter box is. Well, it's corroded at the base of the meter box pole where it goes at ground level to where you can see the wires. So between Mr. Jarvis and Eversource, we're in contact with Eversource and Mr. Jarvis, and we're looking into what he's got to do to replace it. He said he may be able to he thinks he can just dig down until he gets good metal and then repair it that way. And that's kind of probably up to Eversource. So we're waiting to hear back on more information on that. And safety training was electrical safety. It's the subject. 13,138 days and no lost time accidents. And does anybody, the R&M budget, we spent 2,900 September. We are $6,132.76 over budget, which is pretty typical about this time of year. We have 3 more months to go. And I think that's it for me, unless anybody has questions.
Any questions for Walter? No? Okay. There was also, Walter, you said Mulsick Drive?
Yes, Mulsick
Distinct
Drive. The neighbors had been calling. We had went out there over a month ago because the neighbor had called and said, well, there's a depression right by the manhole, which I checked it out. The manhole was fine. We didn't see any sign of any problem with the inside the manhole. It's just there's a depression outside. So talked to Jim Galligan. We called, I got a hold of the guy that replaces the manhole covers, DJ Preciselli. Had him go out there and camera, and he said there's nothing wrong with the pipes or the manhole. So Jim wanted to turn it over to what's the people, the town engineer. He works for them. because it's really nothing to do with the sewers.
E&E
And
engineering.
B&B engineering, that's it. And I guess from what I understand, there's some other sinkholes in that area. So it's not just in the road there, there's other places, I guess. So something somebody else needs to look into.
Walter, do you know if Tony knows about it?
Tony. No,
Okay.
I haven't. I just talked to Jim today
Okay.
and DJ, and so I just found out. I've been out all day at the pump station.
So the engineer will let Tony know, I guess, or what they have to do to fix it.
I can talk to him tomorrow, or let him know. But I think they might want the engineers to look into it.
If it's a pretty big sinkhole in the road,
Well,
you might want to fill with temporary
There's,
patch or
there's
something.
there's not a sinkhole in the road where the manhole is. It's a large depression where if you come off the top of the manhole a couple foot away or so, it's kind of like takes a pretty sharp, steep, steep down, and then it, a couple inches, and then it kind of comes back up again after a couple feet. But all around the manhole, there's cracks. I mean, in the pavement.
Mm-hmm.
So there's probably a 10 by 10 area that probably just needs to be, paved, but it probably needs to make sure it's filled in properly before they pave it.
Okay.
And I don't
So
know
make
about
sure it's not. So make sure it's not safe. Nobody's going to drive into it and.
Yeah, well, that's what it is. The neighbor called, a month ago. We went out there and looked at it, told them that no problem. They called a week or so ago. I went out there, marked it again, and I thought they were going to camera it a while back, and they didn't. So I said, look, so they went out there the other day and cameraed it and said, look, there's no problem there. Jim, probably talk to Jim tomorrow, and he'll. I think he was talking about giving it to B&B.
Jim, I'm back into the meeting.
Oh, you're back.
I can lend some insight here. Yeah, my inspector went out when the guy was doing the TV inspection. It looks like there's several sinkholes in the yards and so on. It looks like there might be something going on when they built the road. I'll contact Brian Asteriak tomorrow and let him know that Public Works needs to go out there and take a look at it, maybe get a contractor or maybe them themselves repair the road there, but it's does not look like it's our issue.
Okay. Sounds good. So is everybody good with Walter then?
Yes.
No questions for Walter? Okay. Move on to income report.
Good evening. This is Jonathan Morrow. Your monthly income report. You took in for September $21,404.33. I can tell you that the bills are in fact out and received by the residents of Seymour. I've been getting calls. That's pretty much it in terms of income. Your finance report, your cash balance is $5,000, $461.16. So billing is perfect. It'll refill that. You still have $1,069,011.14 in your reserve account. During the week, at the chairman's request, I emailed all of you about the two plans for the online billing. Plan number one being $100 a month or $1,200 a year, which would require the Seymour customer directly input their information each billing period. With a little more of a manual situation, but obviously the price is easier to swallow. Or does the board want to consider the $4,800 a year contract, which is $400 a month, which offers a more streamlined payment option for the Seymour customer? I also said that I spoken with Melissa Meridian about having a contract ready, but, obviously, the board would have to authorize the chairman to sign whatever contract it is. If you have any further questions about the online payment program, Melissa Meridian is on this call to answer any further questions.
Yes, I am.
Any questions for Melissa? Doesn't sound like it.
So with that, Mr. Chairman, I guess what would be nice is if the board could make a motion about either the $100 a month or the $400 a month plan, whichever, and to authorize yourself to sign said contract, so basically so you can kick it off in time for at least late notices to have online payment programs.
Well, I was thinking the cheaper one, probably the way to go for now. It does the job, right?
Emery Dragonis, I would agree that the $100 is the way to go. Is there a way that the whole board can look at these contracts and not just, Jim, so we can help him out? If we have questions on the contract?
Haven't seen.
Melissa?
Sure. I mean, the next step would be for me to get with the vendor and get, the formal contract prepared, and then it would be up to you guys to, sign it, provide the banking information, et cetera. So however you want to do it.
Emery, this is Jim. Would that something that with the business manager would have more business signing than myself?
No,
I-
you have to.
I would defer that question to Attorney Proto.
Chairman.
Chairman?
That's right.
Yeah, he's the authorized leader, unless the board wants to delegate it to the business manager. But normally, we would have the chairman sign a contract for the WPCA. I would also suggest that I have not. I mean, once Melissa has the contract, she should send it over so we can review it before it gets signed.
Mhm.
Right.
Sure.
That's something you should probably review too, right?
Attorney Proto, yeah, the attorney should review the contract before we
that's right.
sign it.
Yeah, I would say probably him do that first. Any
Mhm.
issues he might find, then everybody else can
Right.
look at it.
I can forward it to everyone. Right,
That's
or
a
it
good
can be
idea.
forwarded.
So the question I think John was trying to get to is whether you wanted to go with the $100 contract or
They answered that
Or-
question, Walter. That's not the
Okay.
issue. Basically, the board wants to review it first electronically. So when Melissa can get that over to the attorney and the board members, they can make their final decision. But it seems that the $100 $100 a month is pretty much how the board wishes to go. But again, they want to review it.
Right.
okay.
Right, we'll have Attorney Proto review it and then send it over to us after he's okayed it or after he's looked at it. That's fine as well. But I just think that before, anybody on any board signs something, that the attorneys should review it.
Yes, I agree.
So I would, Melissa, if you don't mind, sorry, Jim, I don't mean to speak out of turn either. So Melissa,
Okay.
if you don't mind, could you send that over to Attorney Proto for him to review, either via through Jonathan or through Walter, and then our attorney
Sure.
can look at it. But I believe, Jonathan, you're correct. We did answer that question. It was $100, and I think Jim was just waiting for a yay. We all agreed on it, and it was just up for discussion.
Yeah, I mean, if everybody's okay with it, I mean, I don't think we have to officially vote on it, right?
No, we do have to vote on it.
You have to vote on
to go with the $100
contract.
one.
Yes.
Yeah, but not to have the 100-hour one though. I mean, if we're all agreeing right now with the 100-hour program.
Well, no, someone has to make a motion to enter into an agreement with whatever the plan is called, or the $100 a month option, and to ask Veolia to forward a contract for review. Someone just make that motion.
Anne Marie Dragonic said make the motion for Veolia, for us to go with the $100 contract, for Veolia to type up said contract and send it over to Attorney Ben Proto for review.
I'll second that. It's Don.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Chair votes aye. It's a $100 one.
Okay.
Thank you
I
very
will
much.
You're very welcome. Any other questions? I'll work with the vendor right away and get that over to Attorney Proto.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Now, Mr. Chairman, if we can, if we
Yep.
could now discuss the invoices. If you so desire, I can read them to the whole board.
Sure.
There is a monthly invoice from Veolia, currently at $134,749.50. There is a bill from Nafis and Young Engineering. It is 2 lateral inspections for a total of $200. There is a bill from the Office of the Town Clerk for $102 sewer releases. The next bill requires a little detail. Quality Data replaced our computer for the assessment. While there was having power issues because of the pole at the end of the driveway, it scrambled the power supply of the assessment computer, and sort of needed it because every quarter we have to take in payments. So that total amount and that's brand new computer, screen, keyboard, installation, making sure it works properly, which it does. They did a great job. Also, it comes with software to run it, and we were able to fully restore the assessment, so there was no loss. One of the drives does not function as well, so we're looking into restoring some of the previous data, but it's not to do with the assessment. That's perfectly fine. It's rather some of the other archival data, but we should be able to restore that. But anyway, the quality data service for the computer and its installation is $1,732 even. Next is Comcast Business, which is the internet, for $269.57. We have a bill from Van Etten Plumbing. He had to replace an 1.5-inch ball valve and do some threaded rod to the head of the plant, I believe.
Yes.
And secondly, he also had to repair the urinal in the men's room. And the ball valve and split ring replacement cost $330. And the men's urinal was $150. Next up, Spencer Turbine. This is for the fix on the turbine for the sensor module and also the labor. Total was $2,335 even. William Jarvis Electric to reinstall lines to the Onan generator, test transfer switch operation. adjust time on bypass switch, and then unwire the portable generator for removal, $225.96.
No, that was a deal.
And that's it for invoices.
Hey, Jonathan, I'm sorry. I know
Yes,
we have
ma'am.
to, I know we have to, it's Anne Marie Jaganis. I know we have to vote on invoices to pay them first, but can I make a suggestion?
Go ahead.
Is there a way that we can get, the board can get copies either electronically of these invoices so that we can see them, so you don't have to read them off?
Absolutely.
Just when you
Absolutely.
email us our package, just this way we can look at it, and this way if we have questions beforehand, we can do it. This
Sure.
way you're not sitting there reading them off.
Not a problem. I can make sure that everything prior to the meeting is scanned and emailed to everyone. That's fine. I'll
Thank
be
you.
happy to do that.
So you're all set, Jonathan?
Yes, sir. All I need is a motion.
Okay. I need a motion to pay the bills this month?
John Uhelski, I'll make a motion to pay this month's bills.
This is Don, I'll second
Have a second?
it.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Chair votes aye. We can pay the bills. Okay. Nick, next is legal report.
Actually, no report this month, Mr. Chairman. It's been a quiet month.
Mm-hmm. Nothing on, anybody try to contact you about past communications about paying bills or anything, or?
No one has contacted me, so I was going to reach out to our friends at the at Shady Knolls and see what they're looking at for that second payment. But other than that, it's been quiet.
Leave that there and I'll take care of it.
Okay.
No one's applied for a deferment, which is interesting, but I'm going to be it wasn't extended, so
Nobody at all, huh?
we're at this point. Well, there was one customer who did, but she was looking to defer her past due
Oh,
bills, so I sent her a letter and told her we couldn't do that.
okay. You're all set then?
Mm-hmm.
So can you elaborate a little more engineering for Jim?
Yeah, sure. Just a couple things. The stone and the fabric have been delivered and installed for the biofilter. The chips should be coming any day, and then once they do, we'll contact Public Works to install those. As Walter had said, DJ went out there and TV'd that sewer area on Mulsick Drive, and as I mentioned, I'll be contacting Brian tomorrow and let him know that it's a basically a Public Works type issue. At the South Derby pump station, Walter identified a deficiency on the influent conduit, and they've contacted Eversource. Eversource is supposed to take care of it. The conduit is rusted out at the ground. Jim asked me to contact DOT to see if we can get the pine trees around the South Derby pump station cut down, because they pose a potential hazard during a storm event. The other thing is that the regional sewer study has filed their second phase report, and their second phase report recommends a clarifier or a chemical treatment for primary treatment, a second clarifier. They said the nitrogen process needs to have some aeration. The phosphorus system is okay, but they didn't address really the sludge handling or the grit handling. And I'm happy to say that all of their recommendations are actually the same as the ones that we made a couple of years ago for clarification. Oop, excuse me. Too many things at once. The same recommendations we made a couple of years ago for the clarifiers and for the nitrogen and secondary clarifiers as well.
Well, that's good to hear.
Yeah, it's nice to get confirmed rather than get into an argument.
Right. All right. That's all you have, Jim? Any questions for Jim?
Yes, sir.
No questions for Jim Galligan? Any new
I do-
business?
Sorry, I'm sorry. My
Go
mute
ahead.
button, sorry. So Jim, I understand that you stated that the Black and Veatch audit detailed the same thing as your audit did several years ago, the Nafis and Young audit did. And we need to get it updated, or there's a potential that we may not be able to take in other towns, correct?
Well, actually, in their report, they said that if we took in Beacon Falls, which does not appear to be one of their remaining options, that we would have to add a secondary clarifier. That is one other element about the study I forgot to mention. They started out with 23 options. They've narrowed it down to 6, and Beacon Falls being transferred to either Naugatuck or Seymour has been eliminated as one of the options. The options left that are regarding Seymour is Seymour standalone or Seymour going to Ansonia. A combination of options in that regard, whether it goes to Ansonia, then to Derby, or whether Seymour to Ansonia and Derby to Ansonia. But basically, the only real option left the way I read the report, is that they'll be looking for Seymour to stand alone, or for Seymour to go to Ansonia, and that would become a financial decision.
And that's how I understood the report as well. And if we did have to do all that work, we'd probably have to go out to bonding.
Absolutely.
And if we did go out to bonding, it would look like the ratepayers' rate would probably double.
That's right, too.
Okay. I just want to make sure I understood it correctly.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
And that's what I have, Jim.
Okay, thanks, Jim. Is there any new business? Nobody got any correspondence?
I did not, Mr. Chairman.
Okay.
Um,
And as far as I know, there's no executive session. If anybody else has any questions, I go for a motion for adjournment.
I make a motion to adjourn.
Okay, a second.
I'll second it.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Chair votes aye. Thank you very much, everybody. Have a good night.
Have a good night,
Night
Jim.
all.
Right.